municipal housing, it should be much less than that.
Well,
But
it's
it's
cheaper
also-
to the city street, so it's cheaper to have it subsidized.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just acknowledge that
ticket.
he yielded his time to the chairs, which I appreciate. Councilor Richards is here as well. Ms. Adams.
Yes, again, thank you for your presentation. And just off the top, Community Board 12's Land Use Committee also has now approved this text amendment as of last week, and will also make that recommendation to the board to approve this. Just to make note, we too have substantial numbers of low-income seniors within Community Board 12, and we over the years have also had several proposals come before Board 12 with requests for reduction in parking, and they have unanimously been shot down by civic associations and Community Board 12 alike. So this once again, and I know we're being redundant here, I completely agree with my colleagues at this table that have spoken before me, that this is going to be to the detriment of the population that we are speaking about trying to serve at this point. So we just want to go on record, you know, from my standpoint, just to let you know that as is, and I said this before to my colleagues, I really don't see too much difference between this presentation and the presentation that we received in April from City Planning, and we were really hoping to see something that would really differentiate this borough from everyone else, and this does not do that for us. So again, you know, our thoughts and hopes are that you would make that recommendation to somehow differentiate the borough of Queens from the rest of the city of New York. We are different, we are unique, and I think that our population deserves to be looked at in that light.
Yeah, I have one question and just some comments. Just so you know, the Macedonia Church in Flushing was a affordable housing complex with 140 apartments, which had over 30,000 applications. It has 0 parking because of a mayoral override, and no longer than 2 months after they were up and running, the Reverend was complaining about there was no parking. So we have a problem with that, and that's the biggest transportation hub you can have. I think the number 7 line is the 8th largest subway station. So you could sneeze and get into that subway station, but that meant nothing to Bloomberg's people that they gave them a 0 application. So it's still a problem. It's going to be a problem as they stated, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. Most of our stuff that we have for our district that's going in, my chairs for my zoning people have been insisting 100% parking for our residential stuff because we know that zoning doesn't always work, and we warn them what goes on. I think we went after them in the RKO. We went after them on a few of the other projects. Some of them are listening to us. Some of us are putting in, and it's working. But we don't think that you should take advantage of not having any parking because we know, and I will say, Vinny brought up about as the people get older, they don't have the ability to use the transit system, which takes me to that statement. The MTA does not really care. It took me years to get a bus to go into College Point, and it was only because we built a mall over there, and it took them 2 years to make that understanding happen over there. They took 2 buses out of Whitestone for me, the Q44 shuttle, and they took the Q14 and they combined it with the Q15. The other day I walked home. I got tired of waiting for the Q15 to make the route from Flushing all the way through Malva, College Point, Beechurst, and landed back that way. I'm 61, okay? I'm getting up there in years, as Joe said, so I am getting tired. But the public transportation system, we've asked the MTA to go to 50 buses as it works in every airport, and will not go that way. They continue to go with buses, and they continue to go with tandem buses, which doesn't help us. Subway system is a different story, but mine starts in Flushing. I don't have the advantage like the Manhattan people. And the last thing, the MRI, I'm a little confused. I don't understand. Every time I see it, it's a different number. You had next to the income, it was based on 3. Then I saw based on 4. Then I see based on 5. So can you tell me what the number is, or does it base it on whether it's 30%, 50%? Of course, you have a fireman at 93%, at $93,000, but the last time I asked somebody, it was like a family of 5 or 4. So it keeps changing with me. Do we have a standard number for the MRI? AMI, I'm sorry, AMI. Thank you.
It certainly is a standard. Don't worry.
I needed MRI.
I joke.
We'll just go to the chart.
Yeah, I saw your asterisk mark, and it had at the top income, and on the bottom it said a family of 3, and that's what kind of, I think it was
well,
12, I think. Or,
There are AMIs, what?
Well, we do have, so, I mean, I
Yeah,
have a,
just keep going backwards. It's only
It's only for the family.
It's for a family.
yeah. So we have, so,
because I want that book with the different numbers. Because that's like a highway capacity manual. If you don't have that one, you can't figure out who gets a red light.
so the way it works is that the AMI is adjusted for your family size.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is 80% AMI for a household of 1 is different than what is AMI for a household of 4. So it's difficult for us to communicate what all these what an actual AMI is at less than or equal to 80% because we need to be clear about, are we talking about a family of 4, a family of 3, or a household of 1, etc.
Okay.
So I mean, the information is available. We can
Okay.
We would certainly
distribute
make
that
it
table.
available. The
If
reason
we're
why-
going to give that chart, we should then make sure that we say this is based on just a family of 1 and change. Okay, but if you're going to show me a studio apartment for family of 1 and then a studio apartment for family of 4, then those numbers.
We would, yeah. I mean, we have.
The numbers we put on here are family of 3. and
That's correct.
because the average household size in New York City is 2.6. So
Okay, and that's another thing. There's no such thing as a 0.6. There's no such thing as a 0.6.
Well, that's why
You know, you sound like the what you call when you had the accident and the Geico only gives you 75%. Who buys a car with 3 wheels? So you know, let's.
There we are. The reason we use the family of 3 is because you're correct. Families only come in whole numbers.
Right.
But the closest to the average household size in the city is 3.
I understand. It's just that I recently saw that number 120 for 93,240, and when I asked the question, it was for a family of 4, and then it was a family of 5. That's what I'm just saying. I saw
So
you.
it is for a family of 3.
Okay.
And there is a number, another number. There's a table you can get for every household size. But
Okay.
these numbers happen to be for a family of 3.
I
because
gotcha.
That's
Gotcha.
closest to
Okay.
the average household size in the
Okay.
city.
I'm just saying I saw it with 4 and 5. That's why I just bring it to your attention. I
There
want to make sure
are
I was.
other numbers which are
Okay.
higher
Okay.
for a 4 or 5 person household. In fact, it goes up by 10% for each person.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
George?
I'm from Community Board 1, and I want everybody to know that we're the most unique community in the entire world. We are within, without exaggeration, 5 to no more than 10 blocks from the E train, the F train, the 7, the N, the G, and the Q.
And the LIRR.
Wait, how come you can't get?
And soon the LIRR. Thank you very much. We are also have the 3 largest public housing facilities, I'm told, in the country. And what everybody should know, you can't find a spot to park a car at the facilities of NYCHA. You can't find a spot within 5 blocks of the train. So, if you're declaring war on automobiles, I would strongly suggest that you notify the car manufacturers in the United States to cut back, as well as Japan, and I'm not being sarcastic, I'm really up to here, okay? Because we have to deal with it every day. So, Japan, Korea, who else makes them? Germany, Russia, whoever makes them, tell them, fellas.
Can't bring them into Queens.
Yeah, poor Greeks can't afford it, trust me. So, as I said, our community is very unique, and I don't believe the $30,000 to $50,000 number to build a parking space. I think that's a number that's convenient for the builders, and if they don't build it, I have a question. Will they put the money that they saved into another affordable apartment?
It's exactly our intention.
Yeah, well, they're not going to do it, you know it and I know it.
Well, that's exactly
Now,
our intention,
just
because
one
they're
last
subject to
thing.
regulation by each.
The Astoria housing, I hate to use the word project, but the Astoria housing facilities, NYCHA,
Yep.
okay? I've hated that word since I was president of the Boys and Girls Club, because it stigmatized the kids, and they hated it. They wouldn't even look at you when you asked them where they lived. It's terrible, but anyway, that's me. They asked for angle parking, because that's how much of a need it was. And because the street is only 99 feet wide, not 100, they wouldn't give it up. They wouldn't permit it. So, that's our world in Long Island City, Dutch Kills, Astoria. If you move your car, don't expect to be able to park it again, unless you run out of gas looking for a spot. That's life, that's real life. Great presentation, great idea, we need affordable housing. Very frankly, $1,500 a month or $1,800 a month for a one-bedroom in Astoria, $2,500, $2,700 for a two. God bless these kids and how they're making their money, but I can't write that check. I'm not embarrassed to tell you. So I'm sorry, it's a statement, not a question, but we're telling you what reality is, and that's the reality. Done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council member?
Well, good evening. It is an honor to be here. I'm Councilmember Richards, for those of you who don't know me. And I also chair the zoning committee for the New York City Council, so you will get to know me if you don't know me by now over the next few months. And obviously we'll be working very closely with the borough president and obviously at least all of the chairs and all the community boards across the city. And I just wanted to echo one, and I'll start this way, that we are in an affordable housing crisis. 60,000 people in homeless shelters, the word we don't like in Queens, especially Southeast Queens because we're overburdened. So there obviously is a critical need to make sure that we are being as creative as possible to ensure that our college students coming out of college have places to afford, our seniors, which is a shame that we have senior citizens who work their entire life living in homeless shelters. It's disgusting, quite frankly. And then obviously children, with majority of our children, majority around 30,000 people in the shelters, I presume, are around our children. So we are in a huge crisis, and we have to move in a way. I just wanted to underscore just a few things, and obviously mandatory inclusionary housing is going to come up in certain parts of Queens, and you know we want to ensure that obviously there are this number which the mayor has thrown out and the administration has thrown out is a beginning conversation on the numbers. So I just wanted to underscore that we are at the beginning of a conversation, and where the numbers are at right now does not mean where they will end up at the end of the day. So I wanted to put that out there. And then also on the parking situation, obviously, you know, Queens is a very unique place, and I won't weigh in today because I don't want to give city planning a heart attack. But it is true. Queens is a very unique place, and parking can be scarce in some places. You know, it's real for many communities, including the Rockaways. And other parts of this borough. So I just wanted to put out there that we look forward to certainly hearing from our district managers and working with the borough president to ensure that we try to get something that fits the scope for everyone. Does not mean everybody's going to walk away with what they want, but we should try to get as close to working with communities to figure out needs and that sort of thing. So I wanted to thank City Planning for all their hard work that they've been out here, really beating the drum to get information out. And we finally got an administration who obviously got to us earlier, rather than waiting to the end to get to us. So I want to congratulate them on that. And we look forward to conversations as we move forward. So I wanted to just put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. We have Dolores, then Brian, and Raj.
So, one comment, Queens is unique, as everyone said, and you can treat us as being unique because in your mandatory inclusion, you excluded Manhattan from a piece of the option 3. So you identified their uniqueness in eliminating them from that option 3. So you can do the same thing to Queens and recognize our uniqueness and not take away the parking. In terms of, you made a comment under the quality and affordability that you're going to allow, and maybe I misunderstood it, allow to remove existing parking from affordable senior units that exist today? And why would you do that, and what would you do with that land when you take away the parking? And
So-
people have moved in there based on the availability of parking, some people.
Well, so in cases where they haven't moved in there for the availability of existing parking, and in cases where lots are underutilized, and this is what we've heard from operators of affordable senior housing, and
In
this is
Queens.
just
In
affordable,
Queens.
yes, in Queens.
Um,
We would, zoning requirements for parking would not be the inhibitor of the development of additional affordable senior housing units on that site. HPD and HUD has a tremendous series of regulations that govern what type of development can occur where there are underutilized parking lots, an operator could redevelop that site for open space for the residents, for other amenities for the residents, for additional dwelling units if that made sense on the lot and if they had the zoning, floor area, et cetera, remaining to allow it. This is not something that we would expect to occur on a widespread basis, but research that some of the sort of affordable senior housing advocates have done indicated that there are a couple of dozen sites around the city where this might be feasible. They didn't look at other zoning regulations, they didn't look at funding, they didn't look at some of the other things that really determine whether things get built. But they have told us that it would go towards additional affordable senior housing units or amenity space, garden space, et cetera, for the residents. And again, they're not looking for a fight, they're not going to take away a parking space that's being used. These would be, on truly underutilized sites.
And you wouldn't consider recommending or strongly suggesting to them